everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man, and it's another Prepared Monday. And as I'm getting ready for a cross-country travel, I thought I would actually show you this. So this is Verizon's legal disclaimer. These maps are not guarantees of coverage that contain areas with no service. There are general predictions of where rates apply based on internal data. Wireless service is subject to network and transmission limitation, including cell site unavailability and particular near boundaries in remote areas. Now, if you take a look here, you can see there are giant swaths in certain areas of the country that are missing service, but for the most part it shows a fairly consistent signal set. Here is T-Mobile, and they have a similar disclaimer as well. And here is, AT&T, which also has a disclaimer. Map displays approximate outdoor coverage. Actual coverage may vary. Coverage is not guaranteed and is subject to change without notice. Now, this is all part of the reason why I've been so adamant that if you're going to do a cross-country migration like what I'm talking about, you need to make sure that you have waypoints set up, that you understand where you're going, that you know when you should be there, and that you've got direction sets pre-planned and printed out. Like, see this service center here near in the middle of Idaho? Well, if you look here, you've got a similar map opening in Idaho. And here you have a similar map opening in Idaho. Now, part of the problem is that Boise is over in here. And so if you're coming across northern Oregon and dropping down towards Boise and into Utah, you go through this giant open patch. And even though AT&T states that they cover those areas, I've found the coverage to be minimal at best, and most definitely they don't have mostly 4G and 4G LTE. It is mostly just voice service. And that's because realistically the towers and the signal sets are just, there's not the population there to admittedly need that kind of transmission. And so it's very important that when you start looking at this and planning these kind of things, you have to check these locations. It's one of the reasons to have a backup set of directions, either on your phone or in a hard copy, and to also have a backup battery for your phone in the event that you start to lose phone power for some reason and you can't charge it from your car. So, for those of you preparing a cross-country trip, remember, backup copy of directions, backup battery, secondary charging cable, and check your phone coverage maps to verify how much coverage you've got and where it is. It also wouldn't be a bad idea to take some actual physical change with you in the event that you have to use a payphone at one of these locations where there's little to no cell service. Because realistically, in those locations, having the money to use a payphone is a very responsible thing to do. Many of us that grew up prior to the 2000s remember carrying payphone money in our pockets our entire life. And I still do. I still keep a few bucks worth of change readily available in the event that I need to make a call from a payphone. So, make sure you have your payphone money, make sure you have your paper directions, make sure you have your backup battery, make sure you have a secondary cable, and make sure you actually think about your route and plan it out. Don't just go willy-nilly, because with this kind of coverage map, and this kind of coverage map, and this kind of coverage information, it's just too risky to be trying to drive cross-country willy-nilly thinking that you have service when you don't. So make sure you're aware, make sure you're prepared, and be safe. And as always, have yourself a beautiful day.